Hello and welcome. I'm Oscar Wendell with GITEX Technology Week and Future Blockchain Summit. We're joined here today by Mohammed Atif from DNV GL, who's going to be interviewed by Ken Rutkowski as a feature for our upcoming energy conference at GITEX Technology Week at Dubai World Trade Center from December 6th to the 10th. Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome. It's great to have you guys here. So, hey, Mohammed, I want to dive into this whole idea first. When we hear the word renewable when it comes to energy, what are the renewable energies that we look at? What are the primary, let's say, 4 or 5 different sectors?
I mean, we can nail it down to less than 4 or 5 sectors. Predominantly right now, renewable energy is being dominated by solar and wind generation. As you know, we also have hydro energy, which has been around for quite some time, but that's normally classified in a sort of in its own kind of classification, simply because with some hydro projects come pretty big environmental impacts if there are sort of reservoirs and flooding and what have you. But generally, solar and wind will be, and we're expecting to be, the predominant technologies that will be added in, particularly in the power generation sector, between now and 2050.
And you're not throwing wave into that in any place, or is that just too expensive?
No, wave energy is a technology. I mean, you know, there's wave technology, there's geothermal technology. They are there, and in very specific cases can be used. But yes, from a sort of an economics perspective, they're not first in rank. In fact, even before wave technology, I would say floating solar and floating wind are becoming more and more economic technologies.
But that is a derivative. But that is a derivative, of course, from solar and from wind. But let's really look at wind and solar. Of the two, the least expensive to install and maintain, I'm guessing, would be solar, right?
Right now it's solar, yeah, and it's not just a cost issue. It's the modular qualities of solar. I mean, to design, install is far easier and far quicker than with a wind farm.
And with them still comes with the storage side, and we're seeing lithium technology come down in cost and expand. Do you see that following some type of doubling of capacity over certain periods of time, or certain technologies that will evolutionize that type of area being storage?
Right. Yeah. I mean, storage technology is something that's pretty close to my heart, because I think it's the major enabler that will revolutionize the power industry as we know it. And the reason is that for the last 100 years, the power industry has been characterized by the fact that we can't store electricity, or we store it in a very limited way. Storage technology bridges that gap. And so what we are looking to move to in the future is what we call renewable dispatchable generation, where with the different storage technologies, we're able to have renewable energy 100% secure, available in the evenings as well as the daytime. Well, at least the energy that's generated from it. Storage technology appears in 2 ways. One is directly in the grid, and the other is the massive revolution in the electrification of transport, where you have, in terms of as a fleet, a huge resource, a huge mobile storage resource, taking and giving to the grid at different times of the day. And then finally, the innovativeness that's going into the actual storage technologies is amazing right now. You mentioned lithium, but we're looking at technologies that involve cobalt, that involve nickel, most recently manganese, which can help actually reduce significantly the amount of lithium that's needed within the battery storage technology itself. So there's some amazing things going on. I could speak forever about that side of things, but I'll stop there.
How about billing mechanisms around that? Do you see blockchain fitting into where you could actually measure, monitor, and bill through the whole process?
That's exactly, I think, excuse me, one of the main use cases that we see for blockchain. One is using blockchain to help in a certification tracking process, i.e., where is my material coming from? Which mines? Is it sourced sustainably? So that's one of the aspects of blockchain, building the trust in that supply chain. The second is, yes, absolutely. I mean, we see, there are companies, one of the most innovative companies in Australia, there's a company called Grid Plus. There are tests being done here in Dubai, in the UAE, on using blockchain technology to be able to bill, charge in a way that allows different charging companies, different charging stations to be billed to your account via your mobile.
It's interesting as we talk about renewable, we talk about this sustainable platforms when it comes to energy. And we're also talking about the Middle East, where petroleum is really the main funder of so much. Do you think this is just cannibalizing the potential for the Middle East by going after sustainable and renewable, because now it's actually not petroleum you're focusing on?
So here's the thing: we're in the middle of what we call an energy transition. I mean, books and books will be written about this. Daniel Yergin just recently wrote a book, and he actually said actually it's an energy addition, not transition. But within this energy transition, all countries, whether it's Middle East, United States, Norway, United Kingdom, countries with a strong history in the petroleum sector have to transition. Now, in order to transition, there needs to be a way of bridging and a way of funding. So really, I mean, historically, Norway has transitioned phenomenally, but it has transitioned on the basis of its hydrocarbon wealth. So I don't see cannibalization. I see a symbiotic relationship, but we need to move at the right time. Or yes, it could fall into that category at some point.
I'm currently in California, and the governor of California has said by 2035, all cars will have to be electric or hydrogen, moving off of petroleum. Does it take aggressive moves like that to help the industry make the transition? Or do you think it's just going to kind of move at its own speed?
First of all, I love California. Just had to bring that one in. Secondly, you need these these type of stimuli, policies to enable. I mean, the whole sort of solar and wind industry was built initially on government R&D, government support, subsidies, regulations, etc. So you do need that. But given what you just mentioned, what you also need are the I have to say this: the Elon Musks of the industry. You need those change agents. You need different thinking, and once that different thinking comes into play, with the government support, that catalyst then adds to the momentum. And then things like we've been talking about in the world, the Green Deal, using these new technologies to transition, it is important.
But there is a difference between government mandates and great innovators like an Elon Musk, who's made something that's complex into something simple and almost to a consumer level where they could go, yeah, this is cool and this is trendy, where governments, when they mandate, they have a tendency to feel like they're constricting their population. You have to somehow be in the middle. Is there anywhere in the world where you could point to saying they have found that happy medium of moving forward without making their population feel like they're constricted?
I don't think there is an optimum model out there. So, I mean, for example, what we just discussed, the great innovator Elon Musk happens to be in the United States, which at the moment is in terms of policies is not the one that's kind of promoting this. So, I think a good example. One thing is, the world has become more globalized. So as well as governments, as well as great innovators, we do have a democratization of information, and people are pushing for e-mobility. People are pushing for the consumer is pushing to use more efficient energy. One country I would say that has is a bit more integrated, and that is China. So China does have its own tech industry. It's government supported. It also has its own entrepreneurs, and they are also rolling out all kinds of production lines in battery storage, electric vehicles. And they're listing their companies on the stock exchange United States, so they're raising money there as well. So that is one government where we do see enterprise, government policy, production lines, and a vision to move to this sort of net zero future, encapsulated in an all-in-one way. Albeit we understand, that it is a more centralized system in general.
Last question real quick, and let's go back to blockchain. And you mentioned supply chain. I want to talk about rare minerals, because it's super important to realize where we're either excavating or we're trying to mine for these without depleting them. And I'm wondering, do you see blockchain fitting in? Because if we're going to go back to storage, we're going to need, like you said, the magnesium and the cobalt and the lithium. Can blockchain help us track where this is to maintain an ample supply?
It's going to be absolutely fundamental to track it, and definitely we see blockchain playing a major role there. There are a few elements here. So what we call them rare earth metals or rare earth elements. Two aspects to it. One is the available resource, one is the production, and the other one is the environmental, social governance aspect. So with cobalt, there's an issue that significant amounts are found in countries in Africa with poor governance. So where blockchain can help is to ensure that the ESG component is being tracked and monitored for sustainability. The other aspect to it is we're also finding that blockchain in general as a technology is underpinned by what we call this consensus proof of concept, which effectively driven by mining, which is a process whereby computers are set up and various algorithms or records are proven on different nodes. So renewable, and now that takes a lot of energy to drive those data centers. So one aspect in general of even sort of driving blockchain in a sustainable way is to ensure we've got those data centers powered by renewable energy, which in turn require these sort of rare earth elements. So there is like a cyclical link there, but blockchain is fundamental for us to be able to track where these elements are coming from and have confidence and trust in the industry.
Well, Mohammed, I'm very excited to have you on the panel at GITEX. When we look at what's going on blockchain, we're just, of course, scraping the surface of what's going on. And it's going to be very important to hear more of you diving into where we're going to use blockchain and to understand where sustainability is. So it's great to have you on our panel. And the dates again, Oscar, for our panel are?
Going to be December 6th to the 10th that Future Blockchain Summit in GITEX is taking place, and the Energy Conference is on the first day.
Awesome, guys. See you all there. Thank you very much.
Looking forward to it. Thanks a lot. Cheers, Ken.
Thank you.